It's always darkest before the dawn. But the sun is finally rising in Nashville. It's a new day in Tennessee with new leadership, roster upgrades, even new facilities, all of which have the Titans dreaming big. Blind hope has been replaced by belief. Belief in players like Mariota, Murray, and Casey to take this team back to greatness. The journey won't be short or easy, but it will be worth the ride. The next step is tonight in Nashville. Titans and Chargers next. Everybody, and welcome to the Tennessee Titans Television Network, presented in high definition by Nissan. We are here at Nissan Stadium tonight, preseason game number 1 for the Titans as they host the San Diego Chargers. This is the third straight day of real football games around the National Football League. Alongside Charles Davis, I'm Dan Helly, and there have been a slew of changes in this organization, a renewed interest by ownership. Amy Adams Strunk making a lot of changes, hiring a new general manager in John Robinson. Mike Mularkey, the interim tag is removed. He is the full-time head coach now, CD.
I like how you framed it all up because it's a coordinated unit here in Nashville now. From Amy Adams Strunk down to John Robinson to Mike Mularkey to the players. And they've added a real veneer of professionalism here. They've upped the expectations. They've upgraded the facilities. They want these guys to feel like pros. Now they want to take the next step and start winning games in the NFL. Tonight is step 1.
And if they're going to do that, they need a big second year from Marcus Mariota. From a national perspective, when you think Tennessee Titans, you think number 8.
He is the face of the franchise. It's an overused expression, but that's exactly what he is. They wanted him to get stronger in the offseason. He's added weight and strength. They want him to improve his footwork in the offseason. I know what type of a worker he is. He's been diligent about that, and they also want him to be a little bit more of a vocal leader. He has definitely worked on that. It's his team, and he's really ready to let his athleticism and talent come to the front.
You talked about bulking up. They also bulked up this offensive line and the backfield. Heisman Trophy winner Derrick Henry and DeMarco Murray now in town. We'll have more on them coming up.
Tennessee Titans preseason football is brought to you by your local Nissan store. Innovation that excites. And the Tennessee Lottery.
The Tennessee Highway Safety Office presents tonight's kickoff forecast. 83 degrees and a 100% chance of rain. The skies opened up literally minutes ago. That means we could be seeing a lot from the running game tonight. An upgraded backfield, as we have talked about. DeMarco Murray, Derrick Henry bring a whole new look to this running back core.
And Henry's the one people want to see, the Heisman Trophy winner, but DeMarco Murray is going to be the leader of that group.
DeMarco Murray, the NFL's leading rusher, just 2 years ago as a member of the Dallas Cowboys. Kara Hammer down on the sideline for us has the umbrella and has more on DeMarco Murray.
Well, guys, it was like the skies just opened up the second we put the cameras rolling, but John Robinson's first big hit as a general manager was DeMarco Murray. He's our tonight's Prime to Perform player sponsored by Gatorade, and we are featuring the running back. His resume includes 2014 Offensive Player of the Year. He was a 2-time Pro Bowler, but he had a bit of a down season last year with the Philadelphia Eagles. But for Murray, he believes coming here to Nashville is the one place he could just settle in and focus on football. Now, guys, as we're set to get started here, we won't see a lot of Murray tonight, but we definitely will throughout the regular season.
All right, we prepare for kickoff here at Nissan Stadium. You can see the rain is coming down. Derrick Henry, Trey McBride back deep, Charles.
And I think for Tennessee, in this rain, I think the last thing Mike Mularkey said to them was that we're going to find out who's really going to focus on playing tonight. He doesn't want things to be sloppy just because we have rain. Who's going to take care of the ball in these conditions?
McBride feels the kick on the 3-yard line, gets across the 20, and he's brought down at about the 21. So we expect the starters to play between 8 and 12 plays. Marcus Mariota coming out, and we talked about needing a big second year he was impressive as a rookie quarterback. There were so many things that he did. The number one thing he might want to work on, staying healthy.
Staying healthy, taking care of the football. He had a few extra fumbles in the pocket. He'll work on that. But the best part about his game, his demeanor, his poise. Marcus Mariota rarely is ruffled.
And you see they start with both Murray and Henry in the backfield. Pitches out to Murray, finds the corner. DeMarco Murray picks up a first down on his first carry as a Tennessee Titan. First two plays of the game, Charles, how cool is this? Auctioned off at a fundraiser. It raised $20,000 for the Kevin Carter Foundation and Make-A-Wish Middle Tennessee. So that was the first play that was auctioned off. The second play was auctioned off as well.
$10,000 each. Mike Mularkey did it for the first time when he was offense coordinator in Atlanta. Got $500 for that. The stakes have upped considerably. Let's see what they have here in play two.
Mariota on the play action. Looking deep and finds Tajay Sharp. The rookie wide receiver has been in the starting lineup since OTAs.
A fifth-round pick out of UMass. The stage has not been too big for him right from the word go. And on his first pass attempt in the NFL, he makes a big catch downfield on one of the auction plays. So right now, you got some people by the name of Catherine and Vic Parma and Vic Campbell and Jay DeMarcus who look like terrific offensive coordinators.
Yeah, we'll take that every day and on Sunday. Here's Mariota with the give up the middle to Murray. Murray picks up a couple.
And you may recognize the name Jay DeMarcus.
I do.
From Rascal Flatts, the great country group.
Great group.
I mean, fantastic. And, you know, they've been around for a while. Plenty of top 10 hits. Look, even in 2016, they broke out another one. I like the sound of this.
Are you going to give me one?
I like the sound of this. 2016, they continue on. And not only is he great in concert, he's terrific calling plays.
You are so versatile, my man. You can literally talk about anything and everything. Country music fan Charles Davis here in Nashville. Mariota swings it out to Harry Douglas. And this offense, we talked about undergoing a lot of changes. None bigger than bringing in DeMarco Murray. Had a rough year in Philadelphia last year. Not exactly what he expected in Chip Kelly's offense, but he's expecting to see the DeMarco Murray that we saw in Dallas, Charles.
1,845 yards in 2014, 702 in Philadelphia last year. Our teammate Kara Hammer was talking about him in the pregame and said we wouldn't see him for long, but he's already made an impact, hasn't he?
3rd and 6 for Mariota, working out of the shotgun, trying to buy some time, feeling the pressure. And Mariota gets rid of it on the sideline. Complete to Andre Johnson. Speaking of new faces on this Titans roster, Andre Johnson, potentially a future Hall of Famer, brings a lot to this receiving corps.
He really does, because everyone talks about what he's going to bring to the receiving room, but how about what he's going to bring to a young second-year quarterback? There's Mariota, that beautiful athleticism, able to escape, keep a play alive, and Andre Johnson, as a veteran receiver, knows how to work his way open and present himself for an open target for the quarterback. He's going to help that young man in so many different ways.
Ryan Suckup on to attempt the field goal. And the kick is good. Titans on the board, 3-0 over the San Diego Chargers early in the first quarter. And in the preseason, especially in these conditions, any drive that ends in a score is a good drive. That man did his part. New Titans general manager John Robinson looking on. First preseason drive ends in a field goal. The 40-year-old, a Tennessee native, very happy.
Union City guy, and I'm telling you, this job so attractive to him to get him back home, get him back into his native state, and boy, did he have an impact in a hurry. Kara Hammer talked to us about his first big acquisition being DeMarco Murray, and then how he manipulated the draft. He played it like a Stradivarius, and he was a rookie GM. It's a phenomenal job bringing in some nice talent here. and giving the Titans renewed hope.
Well, we saw one of his draft picks, Tajay Sharp, make an impact there on the first drive with a 31-yard gain to set up the field goal. That capped a 6-play, 50-yard drive. Suckup kicking it will go into the end zone as Brandon Oliver fields it. And the Chargers will take over. Here's a look at the offseason additions, or some of them, for the Titans. Andre Johnson, a late ad. Rashad Johnson coming over from Arizona. Ben Jones was a big one, but perhaps none bigger than DeMarco Murray.
And I know that DeMarco Murray is who we need to focus on, because the running game will be a big part of what they're going to do. But Ben Jones coming over from Houston to play center, they want to beef up the offensive line to help protect Marcus Mariota and give some oomph to that running game. And Ben Jones has been quite an acquisition. They're extremely excited to have him here in Tennessee.
Phillip Rivers under center for the Chargers. Our first look at the Titans defense. Mike Mularkey wants to see mistake-free football from this defense and good communication. Melvin Gordon with a short game. A whole slew of guys in on the tackle there, including Woods. This defensive line, perhaps the deepest unit. Phillip Rivers, obviously one of the better quarterbacks in all of the National Football League in terms of touchdown passes, 11th all time.
And what a great competitor. And just remember how close it felt to Phillip Rivers maybe coming back to this part of the country. He grew up about an hour and a half from here in Alabama. And there was talk about Phillip Rivers coming to Tennessee. And if he had come here, Marcus Mariota would not be a Tennessee Titan.
Topic of conversation for us on NFL Network for a long, long time. Melvin Gordon again stopped short of the first down by that Titans defense. Melvin Gordon's an interesting story.
When you think about the production he gave to his Wisconsin Badgers team, well over 2,000 yards his last year there. And he's one of our impact players for tonight. Melvin Gordon for San Diego, and Jarrell Casey, the big defensive tackle for Tennessee. Gordon did not have the rookie year he expected. They're trying to give him a boost this year as well.
Yeah, Casey really coming into his own, a Pro Bowl season for Casey last year. Here again to give, this time to Danny Woodhead, who picks up the first down for the Chargers. Denoris Searcy on the tackle.
Danny Woodhead, one of the great stories in NFL. All right, Chadron State in Nebraska put up incredible rushing yard totals in Division II football, and he always looked like the guy that you really shouldn't keep, that you should cut, right? How many teams have said that? And Danny Woodhead has found a place in the NFL, an extremely valuable player. Can really beat you, especially as a third down back out of the backfield.
Yeah, 80 catches for Woodhead last year. He checks out. Melvin Gordon checks back in. He gets the carry again. Gordon goes for about 7 right up the middle.
It's interesting, isn't it, Dan, that the Tennessee Titans want to be more physical on offense, want to run the ball better, take care of their quarterback, establish those big backs running it. San Diego wants to do the same thing this year. They want to get Melvin Gordon going. They drafted a fullback this year, J.J. Watt's younger brother. Derek Watt, and added him because they want to be able to have a lead blocker, because that's when he runs the ball best, with someone in front of him.
Second down, Gordon again, this time dragged down right at the line of scrimmage by Jarrell Casey, and there's a flag on the play here.
10-yard penalty, repeat, second down.
So they're going to move it back 10 yards on the holding penalty.
Tony Corrente, former Super Bowl official, already in form, ready to go.
He's been anxiously awaiting preseason game number 1, just like us, Charles.
Exactly. Want to click on that mic and make a call.
Mike McCoy in his 4th season in San Diego, a couple of 9 and 7 years. Last year, obviously disappointing as the Chargers finished 4 and 12 in a very, very tough division. They're going to have a tough road to hoe once again.
Yeah.
Here's Rivers looking over the middle. Isaiah Burst can't haul it in, a little bit high.
And you were talking about Mike McCoy, and we were looking over there. It was actually Ken Wisenhunt, the offensive coordinator, who was, of course, the former head coach here at Tennessee. But he and Mike have had a great relationship over the years, and now that's Mike McCoy, the head coach there. but you can see the resemblance there. And let me tell you something. I'm old enough with Ken Wisenhunt. I played against him in college, Dan. I had to try and cover Ken Wisenhunt when he was playing tight end at Georgia Tech.
Not an easy cover.
No, he was actually a very good player. Played in the NFL for a number of years.
Danny Woodhead back in the game for the Chargers. 4 wide receivers for Phillip Rivers. Rivers again looking over the middle. This time he finds Keenan Allen.
And that's a big return to the team for the Chargers. Keenan Allen was having a monster year last year before getting hurt around midseason. And when he went out, that really hurt the passing game in a big way. He was the #1 target, took a lot of pressure off of people. Antonio Gates struggled with injuries throughout the year. And having Keenan Allen back will be a huge, huge deal for Phillip Rivers. And you saw him connect with him early in this game.
1st and 10 on the 44. A very painful injury, a kidney injury for Keenan Allen. He suffered against Baltimore. Rivers again. This time he dumps it off for Melvin Gordon. Gordon has a lot of room. Gordon into the end zone, first touchdown of the game. A 44-yard score for Melvin Gordon.
Watch Melvin Gordon coming out of the backfield. Quick little fake to him, gets out into the flat, and Phillip Rivers puts it right on him. And that's one of the great things about Melvin Gordon, increasing his game while he was at Wisconsin. Wasn't known as much of a pass receiver, but got better each and every year. His last year at Wisconsin, his most prolific as a guy who was a receiver, and he continues to up his game in the NFL. And boy, if you're a Chargers fan, you're breathing a sigh of relief right now. Back from knee surgery in the offseason, a rough rookie year. That looks like the Melvin Gordon they drafted in 2015.
Not just knee surgery, but that scary word microfracture, which scares a lot of people. The extra point from Josh Lambo is good. 7-3 San Diego on top at Tennessee. Phillip Rivers pumped. We may not see him again after that drive. To Nissan Stadium, 7-3, the Chargers on top after a 7-play, 75-yard drive that included a penalty they had to overcome. Melvin Gordon looking pretty good. Back deep to receive for the Titans once again is Trey McBride. And Derrick Henry, the up back, didn't see a whole lot of Derrick Henry on special teams at Alabama, Charles.
No, you don't see that at all. But when you're a rookie, they want to put you back there and give you some options and see you in different situations.
Josh Lambo kicking off. McBride hauls it in at about the 5-yard line, crosses the 20, breaks a tackle, and then he's brought down by Dwight Lowry. There's Derrick Henry. Perhaps we will see him toting the rock on this drive back here at Nissan Stadium right after this. Welcome back to Nissan Stadium. Marcus Mariota and the Titans offense on the field for their second drive. The first one ended in a field goal. Coach Mularkey said he expected them to play 8 to 12 plays, but a lot of it depended on the situation, Charles.
They wanted to see if they would finish drives. You know, if they didn't finish drives, well, he might keep them out longer. Their first drive culminated in a field goal. Here comes their second one now. I think if something similar happens, that'll probably be the end of the night for most of the starters.
Well, we saw a big play from DeMarco Murray on the first drive. He gets the ball again, and he is met immediately at the line of scrimmage by Melvin Ingram.
Now, you talked about 10 to 12 plays, but that's not for everyone. And Kara Hammer, I know the offensive line, they've talked about them staying out there a little bit longer with recent addition of Jack Conklin at right tackle and Ben Jones at center. Is that true?
That is exactly true. Mularkey said he's going to keep the offensive line on the field longer than the rest of the starters, probably through the first quarter. If you see any of those guys come out early, it's only because he wants to prevent injury, but he wants to keep them out there longer because these guys, this is their first time playing together.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Kara. He actually said first quarter, maybe even extend it to the first half, depending on what he saw.
DeMarco Murray in motion in the backfield once again. And the razzle-dazzle, we saw that in practice, and DeMarco picks up 4 yards. Play looks familiar.
I mean, you're probably going back to some college stuff, aren't you?
I think I am. Am I thinking Boise State?
Boise State, Oklahoma in the Fiesta Bowl. That's how it culminated, a two-point conversion. Jared Zabransky with the Statue of Liberty to Ian Johnson. He scores. Boise State upsets Oklahoma, and Ian Johnson proposes that night.
That he does. Big night for Ian Johnson.
I guess the proposal was bigger, but his teammates thought the win was pretty good as well.
I'd say they'd take that. Mariota facing 3rd and 6, working out of the shotgun. DeMarco Murray in the backfield once again. With time over the middle and complete to Tajay Sharp again.
That was a really good break there. Was that 31? That was Adrian Phillips for San Diego and kept him short of a first down. Didn't like what he saw downfield. Marcus Mariota checked it down in a sense, across the middle. Not enough yardage for the first down. A good stop for San Diego.
Brett Kern on to punt for the Titans. Burst back deep, has to run up on this one, lets it bounce. And he's going to stay away from it. Probably a wise decision, especially in these conditions. So the Titans' second drive of the game ends in a 43-yard punt by Brett Kern. Still a 7-3 game with 5:29 to go in the first. We're back after this. Welcome back to Nissan Stadium, a 7-3 ball game right now in the first quarter. Be a part of the next chapter in Titans football this season at Nissan Stadium. There's still time to get your 2016 Titans season tickets. Just call 615-565-4200 right now or visit titansonline.com. So Phillip Rivers now out of the game for the Chargers after just one drive. He was 2 of 3 for 64 yards, including a 44-yard touchdown pass to Melvin Gordon. In now at quarterback, Kellen Clemens, who is currently the leader in the clubhouse for the backup quarterback spot. Brandon Oliver in there as well, and he gets the carry there for a gain of 4.
He's been around the league for a while. Number of different teams. If you go back to his college days at Oregon, he was a starter there, but ran an offense vastly different than what Marcus Mariota ran at Oregon. That was under Mike Bellotti before they switched over to the high-paced offense that Chip Kelly brought to town. And I'm eager to see what Tennessee's defense is going to do on this drive, how they'll respond after the last series where San Diego just marched downfield.
Oliver again finds some room and picks up the first down as he crosses the 40-yard line, brought down by Rashad Johnson.
And right now, the Titans coaching staff can't be real thrilled with what's happening in the run game because San Diego's owning the line of scrimmage right now. Didn't matter whether it was Melvin Gordon in the first series, Brandon Oliver now on that run. They're finding nice room and creating nice yardage downfield. Offensive line, they're taking charge right now. The Titans are going to look for their defensive line to step up a little bit.
Well, there's Dick LeBeau right there. His 58th training camp this year. Defensive coordinator has been around for quite some time, 78 years old. Big hit by Antoine Blake. Wow. Flag on the play.
Now, Dan, we were at practice on Friday, and what did we see all during Friday practice? Number 47, Antoine Blake,
he was all over the place,
making plays like this. He had a tremendous Friday practice, and it has carried over into the game. Parrish Cox, normally a starter on the corner. He's hurt. He won't play tonight. This gives Antoine Blake an opportunity.
Well, they're going to be taking this one back.
So they got pass interference on the play. Dontrell Inman was trying to run a route for San Diego, number 15, and they ended up interfering with him, and that negated a tremendous play on the corner by Antoine Blake.
Started 16 games in Pittsburgh last year. This is a man with playoff experience. Dick LeBeau knows him well. Kellen Clemens working out of the shotgun. Gives it to Oliver, who slips a tackle, stays on his feet. Oliver's a nifty little guy, Charles.
It's funny that he's wearing 43 because he's built similar to Darren Sproles, who wore that number in San Diego previously. It's almost the same stature. Brandon Oliver out of the University of Buffalo. Built strong, low to the ground, breaks a few tackles, but it's a good play by Avery Williamson, number 54 for Tennessee, to make the initial hit and slow him up and allow the posse to get there and finish him off.
Jarrell Casey in on the tackle as well. 2nd and 16 now for the Chargers. Clemens over the middle to a wide open Hunter Henry, and this is a rookie that the Chargers absolutely love.
Out of the University of Arkansas, a lot of people had first-round grades on Hunter Henry. He ended up going in the second round. A lot of people think he may be the most exciting young tight end to come into the game out of this year's draft class. Played in a heavy run-first offense at Arkansas, so he knows how to block. And that's what you don't get often out of tight ends coming out of college nowadays. A lot of them are just big, rocked-up wide receivers.
They want to catch
don't do
that
it
ball
very often.
All right, so we're facing 3rd and about 2 after the 14-yard gain for Hunter Henry. Brandon Oliver still in the game, and there's a flag on the field.
Illegal snap. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Remains 3rd down.
And that's something to keep an eye on, fans, because the league has put a real emphasis on the centers and not extra motion in what they're doing, especially with these no-huddle offenses where centers are pointing things out, looking back to their quarterback. If the ball gets raised while they're doing that, that's an illegal snap now. And they're going to be real hard on it in preseason to try and get it out of all the teams before the regular season starts.
Yeah, every year about a half dozen or so points of emphasis, and that's something they're going to watch. They're not going to let the centers move around nearly as much as they have in the past. San Diego 2 for 2 on 3rd down. That was when Rivers was in the game. This is Clemens over the middle. He finds James Jones. Brian Arakpo in for the tackle to force 4th down.
I like what Damian Stafford did there, number 39 for Tennessee. He and Denoris Searcy are in a real battle for the safety spot. They've been going back and forth as the number 1 guy. How about that play there by Stafford, closing on the receiver? He didn't make the full tackle, but made the initial hit, slowed him up, and allowed Arakpo to get there and stop him before he got a 1st down.
Titans called timeout. Looked like the Chargers were thinking about going for it there on 4th down. They're just at about midfield. About 1.5 yards, 2 yards is what they need to pick up. It's preseason.
It's preseason. I know.
Why not?
And actually, I'm really a little bit surprised that more teams don't do that in the preseason, because this is the time of year I want to put my team in as much stress as I can. See how they handle things. So if I don't get a 1st down, I put my defense back on the field. Okay, how are you going to handle if it's a regular season game? That's the type of thing I would expect more of, but maybe we don't see it as often as we might expect.
Well, they have apparently changed their mind. Drew Kaiser, rookie out of Texas A&M, in the punt.
And you know what the answer would be from the coaches, don't you? Well, I've got to get my special teams work too. I got to find out who's going to make the team and who's going to play.
Special teams coach doesn't mind seeing a few punts every now and then.
Mr. Announcer. And no one asked you.
Well, they're going to get a look at this rookie right here. Kaiser's first punt of the game to Dexter McCluster, a very familiar face among Titans fans. And that's going to go into the end zone. 7-3, 152 left in the first quarter here at Nissan Stadium. We are back right after this. Well, Marcus Mariota and that entire starting unit, including DeMarco Murray, back out on the field for the Titans. Mike Mularkey told us that he would not hesitate to put them back out there if he didn't see what he wanted to see.
And I don't think it's in response to the score, as you just noted, just being down 7-3 is preseason. But he had said he wanted to see them sustain and finish drives. The first drive culminated in a field goal. That had to feel halfway decent to them. Had to feel pretty good, right? The second drive, they didn't get very far. I think this is why they're back out there into the entire offensive unit. Number 1 guys on the field now.
First and 10 at the 20 for Mariota. Murray picks up a couple over the left side.
And you know how much emphasis has been put on the offensive line, right? John Robinson, Mike Mularkey, Amy Adams-Strunk said, you got to beef them up and keep my young guy from getting hit so often. Well, they want to see them be physical at the point of attack and get this running game going.
2 new linemen in Ben Jones and Jack Conklin. This time on the play action, Mariota rolling out to the right, decides he might keep it himself, changes his mind at the last minute, finds Rashard Matthews.
I know that this is football, but this felt like a point guard in basketball, making decisions. Who's open, right? I'm going to dribble over. Here you are, big guy. Get it to you in the post and get some yardage. Well done by Marcus Mariota, hearkening back to his days at Oregon. We had to make those types of decisions on a daily basis.
3rd and 1 after the 8-yard gain. And there's Murray finding some daylight. Murray across the 50, across the 40. Murray going to be in for the touchdown. I think it's safe to say that's the last we're going to see of DeMarco Murray tonight. A 71-yard touchdown run for the new Titans acquisition.
Watch over here to the left side, guys. That's what you want to see. See, look right there. Now you have the clean hole that's open. But the beauty of it all is DeMarco Murray's vision. He sees the hole, sees the block downfield by Dorial Green-Beckham, and then takes it the distance. He has to feel great about this early jaunt as a Tennessee Titan. But Mike Mularkey, Russ Grimm, the offensive line coach, they have to feel fantastic. 3rd and 1, defense is loaded up to stop the run, and they carve a big hole anyway. That's what they're looking for in terms of being more physical up front.
The one thing they loved about DeMarco Murray was his physicality. He loves being a physical runner. What we saw there is what makes him special. The speed as he outruns Adrian Phillips to the end zone.
Great vision, didn't even have to be physical because the guys up front took care of that for him.
Well, here's another look. DeMarco Murray, and certainly making an impact already.
And that's what you talk about, the things that make him special. The great backs are able to finish off the big runs. Look at them up front. Everyone married up with someone. And you know there's an adage in football. About the first 7 yards downfield, that belongs to the offensive line and the tight end. But go ahead, if you want the big run like we just saw there, the wide receivers have to block, and Dorial Green-Beckham did exactly that.
Yeah, they got good blocking from everybody on that play. That caps a 3-play, 80-yard drive. Kara Hammer on the sideline with more on DeMarco.
Well, you know, they call Mike Mularkey a player's coach, and this is why. When the Titans drafted Derrick Henry, Mike Mularkey picked up the phone, and his first phone call was to DeMarco Murray. He wanted to let him know that even though they drafted this Heisman Trophy winner, that he would still be the featured running back of this football team. I asked Murray, what did that phone call mean to you? He said it wasn't necessary, but it was definitely appreciated.
That's great stuff, Kara, and you know, when you're able to communicate that way from head coach to your players, no layers in between, that really breeds a lot of loyalty from guys. And guys, when they trust you, they really respond and play better for you.
No, I think transparency is something that's really appreciated among the players. All the way out to the 30-yard line is Brandon Oliver for the Chargers. 25-yard return for Oliver.
But one last time, that gap that they opened there, Dan, on that run by DeMarco Murray, that is heartwarming for an offensive line coach, a tight end coach, running backs coach, the whole deal, because just look at what we're getting over here. You're getting all those guys, and look what they did. Taylor Lewan blocking down there. You see that? And then look at Dorial Green-Beckham, 17 downfield, engaging the corner and giving Murray a real alley to run through and get all the way downfield for a touchdown. That was beautiful.
You talk about not all tight ends liking to block, not all wide receivers like to block, but they're going to have to do it in this system because they are going to run the ball quite often. Kellen Clemens completes the pass over the middle to James Jones. James Jones, an important acquisition, especially considering the fact that Stevie Johnson not going to be with the Chargers this year.
Yeah, Keenan Allen's got to have a running mate, and James Jones has been a very good veteran receiver, Green Bay especially. But guess what? He even had a rule put in because of him. No more hoodies. You can't wear the hoodie underneath the jersey anymore because of James Jones.
Seen a few in practice, but haven't seen any in games so far in this preseason. Again, the give is to Oliver. There's a flag on the play. Tony Corrente going to tell us what's going on here.
Holding, offense, number 62, 10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
That's Max Turk. the center from USC, a rookie.
Fourth penalty of the game for the Chargers. First preseason game is always a little bit sloppy, but that's not ideal if you're Mike McCoy or Ken Wisenhunt for that matter.
I noticed in practice the other day, every mental error that the Tennessee Titans had, whatever side of the ball it was, the player who caused the error, or it was on, it wasn't just him doing push-ups. It was the whole unit.
It was everybody. That's the end of the first quarter. San Diego with the ball, down by 3, 10-7. You are watching the Titans Network, presented by Nissan. Back with more action as the second quarter gets underway right after this. Welcome back to Nissan Stadium. Titans up 10-7 as the second quarter is about to begin. And I think that Mike Mularkey is pleased with what he's seen so far.
I think he likes what he's seen for the most part from his offense. I think he'd like to see the defense establish a line of scrimmage a little bit more. But all in all, I think he's seen some very good things out of his team.
Clemens complete over the middle for about 5 or 6 yards. Look at that guy. Number 22 back in the day at UT.
Oh,
that's when he made some noise, buddy.
That's a lot of hair and a lot of pounds ago.
13 for interception. Whoa, what happened? Who's that?
Well, I know where my pounds went. They went to your neck roll. I mean, that's a serious neck roll, man.
I don't know where they got that picture.
That is outstanding. I love that you wore 22.
I did.
I wore 22.
After you, man.
And we're both Vols.
Just a couple of Vols here talking football here at Nissan Stadium.
Glad to be back in the Volunteer State.
Oh, we're very glad. Always good seeing you in a Tennessee uniform. 2nd and 7 here for Clemens. And that's a bit off the mark. All right, let's talk about this game for a second here, Charles. We talked a lot about DeMarco Murray, and he has not disappointed. 6 carries, 93 yards, including a 71-yard touchdown run. An impressive first game in a Titans uniform, no doubt.
No doubt about it. Our teammate, Kara Hammer, spotlighted him at the top of our show and said he's the guy to watch. He won't be out there long, but they were expecting some production from him. And boy, was she on target, because they got big production from him. And as you noted, it's doubtful we'll see him again tonight. But if you're a Tennessee Titans fan, you're really excited about him bringing his talents to the Music City.
Yeah, we saw some good things from Marcus Mariota as well. San Diego facing 3rd and 7. The pass is complete, so they're going to pick up a first down. That's Isaiah Burse on the catch.
It's a really nice catch because it was contested.
Offense number 78. 15-yard penalty. Repeat 3rd down.
Wow, 5th penalty of the game for the Chargers.
Now to go against Tyreek Burwell, young man out of Cincinnati, an offensive tackle. And that negates a really nice catch by Isaiah Burse.
Well, 5th penalty of the game, as I mentioned, for the Chargers. Still, we have yet to see a penalty on the Titans.
And that is going to be a point of emphasis for Mike Mularkey and his team. And you can see their offseason work already paying off. He said, we're not going to be a penalized team, and has emphasized it. And what's the old thing that they say? You get what you coach. They're coaching that pretty well so far.
Yeah, certainly a point of emphasis for them throughout training camp. Clemens working out of the shotgun. Clemens looking deep for Jones, just over his outstretched hands. Antoine Blake with good coverage.
Really good coverage. I was wondering if he lost the ball for a second there, though, because he didn't really make a play on it. Or maybe he felt like it was so far overthrown he didn't have to. But he really had nice coverage. It pinned the receiver to the sideline, was running it at his hip, and was never in any danger of him getting away from him.
Trey McBride back to receive the Drew Kaiser punt. They have liked what they've seen from McBride in training camp, and part of the reason he has a very good shot to be part of the 53-man roster is because he plays on teams. You're watching the Titans Network, presented by Nissan. News on starting rookie wide receiver Tajay Sharp from Kara Hammer coming up right after this.
Welcome back to Nissan Stadium, where the Titans are leading the Chargers 10-7. Now in the first quarter, rookie wide receiver Tajay Sharp left the field. The Titans said he is being evaluated for a possible concussion. Guys?
Well, that's not great news there. This is the play that we believed it happened on. This is the second play of the game. You can tell he gets up a little groggy, Charles.
Yeah, had to wait for the ball a little bit, got open, had to wait for it, secured the catch, and then Dwight Lowry from San Diego brought the boom, and that's possibly where this happened, and we certainly hope he's going to be okay.
Matt Castle in at quarterback and wastes no time finding Andre Johnson for the first down. They really like what Castle brings to this quarterback room. This is a guy who's been around a long time, and John Robinson knew him from his days in New England, where, of course, he backed up Tom Brady.
And not only backed him up, you remember the year Tom Brady got hurt in the first quarter of the opening game? Matt Castle went 11-5 that year. And believe it or not, didn't make the playoffs.
Didn't make the playoffs, but he did get paid after that.
Yes, he did. He moved on to Kansas City, took them to a division title, went to a Pro Bowl with them. He's had a nice career, and he understands his role here, mentoring and backing up Marcus Mariota and providing them play when they need it.
Now here's the Heisman Trophy winner, Derrick Henry. Henry finding the gap and picking up 7 or 8.
Feel the crowd react immediately?
I think this is a guy who generates a little excitement around here, Charles.
He's an absolute monster. And one of the things, and I went back through scouting notes, when I talked to different people around the league, one concern they had was he ran very high, big back, and he took a lot of hits, they thought. The Titans didn't think that. Mike Mularkey, John Robinson, and he's been dropping his pads in practice and finishing his runs.
2nd and 4 now for the Titans. Henry still in the backfield in the I formation. Once again, Henry finds the edge, and he is not an easy man to bring down. A flag is thrown as Henry takes it to the 25.
And one of the good things he has is he's got the #1 offensive line in, as well as the #1 fullback. His old teammate from Alabama is Justin Fowler, number 45, right there. Bam, see that on the edge? An excellent block to help spring Derrick Henry to the corner.
Henry and Fowler in the backfield is a big boy backfield.
Yeah, if they decide they want to sit down and attack a buffet, you're going to lose some money that night if you're owning the place.
No, they don't have a chance.
But how about that, though? This is where it's going to be good for Derrick Henry. He has the first-team offensive line in, first-team tight ends, and they're going to run a number of them, as well as a first-team fullback. Gives him his best opportunity for success early in his career.
3 tight ends in the game again to give to Henry right up the middle. Big hole for Derrick Henry as he's helped along the way. First down, Henry inside the 10-yard line. A 17-yard gain.
Well, we talk so much about his power. How about his ability to move and make people miss? Watch him. He turns into a whirling dervish here. Huge hole. Spin move, make him miss. Slide off and more contact. Ben Jones helps him along, and he gains additional yardage by being nifty, not necessarily being physical.
The Titans now in the pinnacle scoring zone. Sign up for Titans Banking and get exclusive access to Titans benefits at the Titans. Henry again almost picks up another first down.
But it's not just Derrick Henry, is it, partner? How about these big fellas up front? They are getting it done, and in a big way. Look at this. Everyone's matched up with someone. Dan Hellie, you'd find yardage on that play.
Yeah, I think I might be able to pick up a couple.
Really well done, and we're talking about Ben Jones at center, number 60. Chance Warmack, 70 at guard. Quentin Spain, 67 at guard. Taylor Lewan, 77 at tackle. And Jack Coleman, the rookie, 78 at tackle. Creating big holes and gaps for Derrick Henry.
Now 2nd and 2 again. 3 tights in the game. Henry looks like he's close. A couple of flags thrown on the play.
I know flags are out, but is this about as good a 1-yard run? Right here, look, there's penetration there. He sees it, able to step away from it, and almost end up into the end zone. Look at the penetration right there. Look at him step around it and then get forward and reach for the goal line.
Well, you alluded to it earlier. Henry is more than just a power back.
At the conclusion of the play, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, offense number 80, 15-yard penalty, and it will result in a first down.
That's Anthony Fasano, also the first penalty of the game on the Titans.
So they picked up the first down, and the penalty came after it, so they get the first down but lose the yardage. Fasano, I didn't see what happened. but I'm guessing he was helping out his running back at the end.
Yeah, we've already seen that earlier in the games. Here's a look at Derrick Henry. The Titans, the first team to draft back-to-back Heisman Trophy winners since the Lions, Barry Sanders, Andre Ware.
That's a pretty good nugget right there. The 6th Heisman Trophy winner to join the Titans organization in their history.
Well, that last Heisman Trophy winner they had at running back was pretty good.
Yeah, you talk about a guy by the name of George.
Mr. George
Eddie
did a few good things here for
no doubt about that.
Over a long, long time.
No doubt about that, but I think that you made an excellent point there. He is more than just a big power back as Derrick Henry. And I think what may surprise people are his hands. He didn't catch a lot of passes at Alabama, but they didn't throw a lot to him. That wasn't their game. They'd rather just go ahead and stick it in his chest and let him take it from there. What do you have, 395 carries last year? And if people are worried about the tread on the tire, don't worry about that. He didn't have a lot of carries his first 2 years at Alabama.
Well, so far, 5 carries for 47 yards for Derrick Henry. Let's send it down to Kara Hammer on the sideline.
Well, a lot of new additions on this Titans roster, so we want to ask you, the fans, which addition are you most excited about between DeMarco Murray and Derrick Henry? Make sure you tweet me your questions at Kara Hammer.
Oh, here's Henry one more time. Henry cutting it back inside, and once again, there's a flag on the field. We have seen this a lot tonight, preseason game number 1.
You might have jinxed them when you said they didn't have any penalties so far, the Titans.
Don't tell anybody that. I forgot I said that already.
I won't say that. How about our teammate, Kara Hammer?
Offense, number 60, 10-yard penalty, repeat first down.
That's Ben Jones, the acquisition at center from Houston.
We've talked about this running game, not just Derrick Henry, but early in the game, DeMarco Murray getting it going early.
That was the first play of the game. That was one of the calls made for charity. And that opened up big, and then a little more razzle-dazzle. And look how he finishes a run going forward. And in that gaping hole, the tremendous vision and the ability to cap off a long run with his long speed. DeMarco Murray getting comfortable in Nashville.
Yeah, he's feeling pretty good right now. Derrick Henry in the backfield right now with Dexter McCluster. A little thunder and lightning look next to Matt Castle. Looks like that's going to be a false start. A look again at Murray's numbers. 6 carries, 93 yards. It's nice when you can just turn the hat on backwards and watch the rest of the game and almost have 100 yards going into the locker room at halftime.
Yeah, he's earned it tonight.
Well, as you said, Charles.
No play. We had a whistle come from somewhere other than the field, causing players to react. It will be first down.
Got a lot of whistles going on here.
I don't know about you, but when I went to a football game, I didn't bring a whistle with me. I mean, it just wasn't part of the deal. Just wasn't part of the deal. So, Kara, maybe someone will tweet you about that and own up to the whole thing, because I don't know how you're doing all this multitasking. We're barely able to keep up with the game, and she's able to have people tweeting her.
She's doing it all.
Report on the game, the whole deal. She's a total package.
Another flag on the field as Castle finds his receiver, tight end Philip Supernaw.
Been a pretty clean game for Tennessee up until this point. They don't want to see it devolve.
Offside, defense number 49 in the neutral zone at the snap. This penalty is declined. The result of the play will be second down.
They like that a lot. That's Ben Gardner, an outside linebacker, not aware of where he was lining up. Lined up in the neutral zone before the play, so you've got to have an awareness of what you're doing out there. That would have been an easy 5 yards for Tennessee if they didn't gain more on the play. And Matt Castle leading a really nice march now.
Now second and short. That was a 17-yard gain for Supernaw. The 9th play of the drive here for Matt Castle and this offense. Again, it's Derrick Henry. Nice cut, and he's still going all the way into the end zone. 2 new running backs, 2 touchdowns in the first half. Not a bad way to be.
And look at the cuts again. The vision, cut, and then get forward. And look at the power as he drags him into the end zone. Here's one cut, second cut. Now he's going, and look, people are on top of him, but he has the leg drive to power his way into the end zone. Derrick Henry think he's got a chip on his shoulder not being the Heisman Trophy winner, not being the first-round draft pick?
Well,
how am I not picked first out of the running backs? He's going to carry that chip with him throughout the year.
if it's any consolation, there are some second-round running backs who were chosen out of Alabama who have done pretty well.
They do.
Eddie Lacy being one of them. The extra point is good. Capping a 9-play, 63-yard drive. Derrick Henry in for the touchdown. 8:21 left in the second quarter. Titans up by 10. Thoroughly impressive. The running backs, both of them, Derrick Henry and DeMarco Murray, that offensive line just mashing people, Charles.
Offensive line, you remember how much criticism this organization got for the number of tight ends they kept last year. They kept 5. Some people think it's overkill. Well, the tight ends are doing really nice work in the running game tonight as well. They'll have some decisions to make about who's going to make this team.
Ryan Suckup picking it deep to Craig Mager, who has a nice return there for the Chargers. Here's a look at Henry's numbers. 7 carries, 56 yards, all in that last drive. And Charles, the thing to me that was the most impressive, when we talked about Derrick Henry in the draft, we talked about a big power back. We saw Derrick Henry making some moves, more than just a power back there.
And we all, yeah, and there was a number of days that we discussed Derrick Henry and does he have the ability to make people miss. We saw that on the drive where people missed and missed badly, and it turned into extra yardage for Tennessee. So he's showing the whole package tonight himself.
10-point ball game here for the Chargers. Kenneth Farrow picks up a couple. So now we're starting to see the backups on both sides of the ball for the Titans and the Chargers. Farrow, a rookie out of Houston.
That is something to keep in mind when you evaluate the night of Murray and Henry. Both did run behind the first-team offensive line throughout so far.
That's a great point. Clemens swings it out to Farrow again. Farrow's going to pick up the first down and then some.
And that hurts you out on the corner because that's a play that you can make and go into the film room and feel great about. But that missed tackle there, it'll be spotlighted and illuminated. A missed opportunity out on the corner to make that play.
17-yard gain for the rookie out of Houston. 1st and 10 at the 49 for the Chargers. Kellen Clemens still in at quarterback. Farrow working out of the I formation again to give to Farrow. Farrow cuts it back inside, picks up 6.
I don't want to call the wrong guy's name, but you're probably at home wondering who it was. I thought it was B.W. Webb that on the play before that missed out on the corner. He has the long braids and it obscures his number a little. So I wanted to make sure, and I think it was B.W. had a chance there, and then we just saw Carl Klug make the tackle inside on in the defensive front.
Second and 5. Farrow still in the backfield. James Jones in motion. Clemens on the play action, looking for James Jones, finding James Jones, and they pick up the first down.
And B.W. Webb had good coverage, but slipped. And that's how James Jones was able to make the play. He kept his footing, and the ball was delivered, and then Webb had to bounce up and make the tackle. He was on the spot, but when he fell down, that allowed Jones the opportunity to make the catch.
B.W. Webb started last season on the practice squad for 7 games. Played in the final 9 games with a couple of starts.
We have had rain here, so the field may be a little bit slippery, and that's usually to the offense's advantage.
First and 10 again. Farrow one more time up the middle. It's Damian Stafford on the tackle.
Got some safeties that are not afraid to drop down into the box, get near the line of scrimmage and make tackles. Damian Stafford, one of them. He's had a tremendous training camp. Really pushing Denoris Searcy for the starting job at safety. But I think the guy that we're eager to look at is Kevin Byard, the rookie out of Middle Tennessee State. And we'll see him as the game develops.
They're very high on Kevin Byard, of course, the most interceptions in MTSU history. Clemens, little pump fake, looks for James Jones. Right off his hands. Antoine Blake there in coverage. You don't see Jones drop too many of those.
I don't think Antoine Blake is hurting his chances to make the team, is he?
Well, you talked about him being everywhere in practice. He's been everywhere tonight.
In the good coverage, been in the right spot. He carried over a really tremendous Friday practice into a nice performance in the first half of the first preseason game.
Well, 3rd and 7 now. See if Dick LeBeau's defense, this is mostly second teamers out there right now facing Kellen Clemens in this Chargers offense. Oh, great snag. Jeff Cumberland, the tight end.
It's a heck of a deal, but watch right there at the bottom of your screen, B.W. Webb had what they call a nickel blitz in there, where he came from inside, looked like he was going to cover someone and then rush the quarterback.
Defense going to be in the preseason. He said Dick LeBeau does not know what vanilla is.
We just saw it there, even though they picked up the first down.
I asked him to follow that up, so that means you're going to be blitzing quite a bit. We're going to be doing whatever Dick wants to do.
Start. Offense, number 78. 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
Second penalty on Tyreek Burwell. Offensive tackle out of Cincinnati. There's Dick LeBeau in the white shirt.
Next to linebackers coach Lou Spanos.
A former defense coordinator himself at UCLA under Jim Mora.
Yeah, he was with the Redskins as an assistant before that. 1st and 15 for Kellen Clemens. Right off the hands of Derek Watt. And if that last name sounds familiar, it's because it is.
The younger brother of J.J. Watt. And that ball's right there. And that's a ball he's going to have to, yeah, it's a little bit high, but it's a ball he'll have to catch out of the backfield. And I think he'll get a little grief out of his brother. Remember Hard Knocks when J.J. was standing in front of the jugs machine?
Oh, yeah.
Just snagging him? I think he'll hear that from Big Bro at some point. But
well,
he is a tremendous blocker, and that's why they drafted him, Derek Watt.
And they've actually been pleasantly surprised with his hands. Derek Watt, one of the better young players in training camp this year with the Chargers. 2nd and 15. Clemens under pressure. I think there must be a lot of wet gloves out there because we've seen a lot of drop balls again.
And first preseason game, get guys amped up.
Offense, number 75. 10-yard penalty. Repeat, second down.
It's Chris Hairston,
who's had some playing time in San Diego. They're trying to get their offensive line retooled. They had a ton of injuries last year on the front, and it started in the season opener against Detroit. Guys started dropping, and it just continued throughout the year. Made it hard to get any continuity going, but Derek Watt, drafted out of Wisconsin to help the running game get ignited with Melvin Gordon. They played together there, and they know each other's moves. He's a tremendous lead back, but they've got to get the guys up front solidified for Phillip Rivers and their run game.
2nd and 25, not an ideal situation for Kellen Clemens, working out of the shotgun. Climbs up in the pocket. Finds Hunter Henry. We mentioned Henry earlier. He was the Mackey Award winner, the top tight end coming out of college.
Really nifty move by him downfield because he established himself and showed his numbers to the quarterback and then realized he was not open there and made another little slide step to get into an open lane. And as you noted, Kellen Clemens primed the pocket and drilled one to him.
17-yard gain facing 3rd and 8. This is the 9th play of the drive for the Chargers. Farrell alongside Clemens in the backfield. Clemens putting a lot of heat on that. Jeff Cumberland just can't hold on to it.
And Nate Palmer on the coverage. Number 50 came over from Green Bay. They released him, and Tennessee happy to snap him up, and they've talked about what a tremendous camp he's had. Watch him drop out right there. And when he drops out, look at him on the spot, and he affects the play enough to force the incompletion. Good camp for Palmer, and he carries it over into some play tonight.
39-yard field goal attempt from Lambo. Up and good. 17-10 ball game. Nate Palmer, somebody we need to talk about because they are very impressed with Nate Palmer. 7-point game. We're back after this. Welcome back to the Titans Network, presented by Nissan. A 17-10 ball game after a Chargers field goal. Most of the second teamers have been on the field. Derrick Henry, Trey McBride back to receive the Lambeau kick. An impressive display by the Heisman Trophy winner tonight. Derrick Henry as well as DeMarco Murray putting on quite a show. Mike Mularkey has talked about the fact that this is going to be an old school smash mouth, ground and pound football team, and that's what we've seen tonight. McBride hauls in the kick at the 1-yard line, makes a cut, has a little daylight trying to cross the 30, and he does out to the 36-yard line. Good return by McBride, tackled by the kicker Lambeau. You're watching the Titans Network, presented by Nissan. We're back after this. The game story is going to talk a lot about the running backs of the Tennessee Titans, but they wouldn't be getting it done without the offensive line. And first-round pick Jack Conklin looking pretty good, Charles.
He has not been intimidated since he got to Tennessee. He's winning a lot of one-on-one battles in practice. You're seeing him there doing a lot of pass blocking. But his real forte, mauling in the run game. And he's gotten that done along with his line mates tonight as the running game has really gotten untracked.
Well, that's something they talked about during camp. He's been winning a lot of one-on-one battles.
That's why he's a first-round pick. They expect to see that, but boy, he's done it really impressively.
Matt Castle going deep for Rashard Matthews. And that's going to be a big chunk of yardage right there. 24 yards to be exact.
And that's beautiful. They get the pickup, and Rashard Matthews coming from left to right on your street. And see him crossing in the front there, and a really nice throw by Castle. And Matthews is a playmaker. They want to get the ball to him. But why are they able to get it downfield like that, Dan, on that play?
It looked like they sucked up the linebacker on play action, Charles.
That running game is helping out in a big way, and that's what they're counting on to increase their aid to Marcus Mariota.
Henry taken down in the backfield very quickly by Darius Philon.
I know we're creeping up on the 2-minute warning, but at a certain point, you mentioned the word smash mouth, so that keyed something for me. At a certain point, we're going to have to talk about the term exotic smash mouth. Okay?
I cannot wait to hear that definition as we are now at the 2-minute warning. The Titans facing 2nd and 14. You're watching the Titans Network, presented by Nissan. There's not a whole lot of game planning that goes into the preseason, but I think it's safe to say, Charles Davis, that what we have seen tonight from Mike Mularkey's offense is pretty close to what he hopes we see during the regular season.
Yeah, I think it's the vision that he's wanted, and now they're trying to fit it tonight. You know, they're trying to get there. Well, look at that run right there by Derrick Henry. Okay, let's go ahead and do it right now. Exotic smash mouth, all right?
Tell me about it.
All right,
I want to know.
We're seeing that, but Kara Hammer, what does exotic smash mouth mean to the Tennessee Titans? I know it came from Mike Mularkey.
Well, for Mike Mularkey, the day he became the head coach of the Tennessee Titans, he said he was going to play hard mouth, hard hitting, smash mouth football, and he has proved exactly that. They have 12 padded practices. Mularkey used all of them. I think if he had the opportunity to use more, he would have. And here's a fun tidbit for you guys. DeMarco Murray had 93 yards in the first quarter. The last Titans running back to rush for 100 yards was Chris Johnson in 2013. So that just proves what smash mouth football in Tennessee will be.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Kara. And that's a great note because they want to bring that back and bring the running back back into the game. But the exotic part of it is when you go with Mike Mularkey, go back to Pittsburgh, okay? He had Jerome Bettis. There's your smash mouth. The exotic part, Antoine Randall and the things he could do with him. Cordell Stewart as Slash, what he could do with him. Go to Atlanta, okay? You want to get exotic smash mouth, Michael the Burner Turner, but then you end up adding in Julio Jones out wide, right? Roddy White, what he can do, and you had a lot of exotic things that went along with the smash mouth that Mike Mularkey liked to incorporate into the offense.
Just sounds sexy.
It sounds good, doesn't it?
I like it.
And he's proven it at other places, and he wants it here in Tennessee.
You want to be at Nissan Stadium this season to see Mariota, Murray, and Morgan? There is still time to get your Titans season tickets today by calling 615-565-4200 right now, or you can go to titansonline.com for more information. That guy's making me want a little popcorn right now. He almost had it, too.
Almost. I like the pizza right there next to it.
The Titans setting up to punt. Brett Kern standing right on the 50. Isaiah Burse is back. He's going to get away from it. That's going to be down right about the 5-yard line.
How about that? That Australian rules punt kills the ball dead deep, right, with his nose down, and you pop it up.
Exactly the way you're playing it.
And when you think about where it really began in the NFL, San Diego, Darren Bennett, coming from Australia.
Great point.
And now we're flooded with Australian punters coming over, like kicking academies and the whole deal. And smartly so, guys have adopted that, and it's working quite well. Brett Kern knocking it dead deep.
First and 10 on the 5-yard line. Kellen Clemens again in at quarterback for San Diego. Chargers down by 7. Clemens a bit off the mark to Dom Williams. Williams, the rookie out of Washington State.
Not trying to play it safe at all here. Really trying to run a 2-minute offense, firing from deep in his own territory. None of this taking a knee at this time. And you know something? If it was a real young quarterback, I think they'd do it anyway. Want to see if he can handle the pressure down here. It's preseason. You test them in every way. Taking a knee and going in hit the half in a preseason game, that just doesn't make good sense.
Doesn't make a lot of sense. Listen, the games don't count, but they do matter, Charles.
That's exactly right. Find out what they can do in adverse situations.
Denoris Searcy on the hit.
Yeah, and Antoine Blake on the scene as well. You know, we're still trying to define what's a catch and what's not a catch in the NFL, right? Let's take a look. Ball there. Got to complete the process of the catch, and he never took it all the way to the ground. Searcy's hit after Blake over the top jars it free and forces the incompletion. They were trying to get the ball there to number 86, Hunter Henry, the rookie tight end.
That might have been the old peanut punch. He might have done his Peanut Tillman thing. It looked like Searcy got a fist in there.
And congratulations to him on his retirement. I believe he's going to be an analyst at Fox now.
That he is. Clemens flushed out of the pocket after feeling the pressure. He wisely gets down before he's taken down. 50 seconds left now.
Tennessee takes a timeout, Dan, because they want to get the football back and run a 2-minute hurry-up offense to try and get some more points before the end of the half.
Situational football.
Exactly.
Talked about changes earlier. This is a nice change for the Titans. Completely redid the locker room.
That's beautiful.
I'll tell you this, Charles, as you know, not every NFL locker room looks like this.
And we see the beauty and the aesthetics, but the biggest thing they did was they blew out the wall in the middle that separated the offense and the defense and turned it into one big open locker room, better for team relations.
With Kaiser punting. Trey McBride on the receiving end. Taken down pretty quickly.
That's Dexter McCoyle. Great job chasing that down and making the tackle. Okay, the wide receivers for Tennessee, and rightly so, caught a lot of grief for their performance last year. They weren't very productive. This is a great opportunity for them. Here in this 2 minutes, 38 seconds in the half. You got to figure Matt Castle's going to throw the football. Can any of those guys out wide make plays for them?
Terzilli in the game. McBride in the game. Derrick Henry next to Castle, who's operating out of the shotgun. Castle rolls out, decides to keep it, trying to get out of bounds, and he wisely does. Run out of bounds by Chris Landrum. So 30 seconds left. It's going to be second down.
You mentioned Terzilli, number 86, wide receiver on the field. Mike Mularkey eager to see who might step up. One of those guys they really would like to see step up is on the field now, and that's number 15, Justin Hunter, former second-round pick. Has breathtaking talent at times. They just want to see him become consistent and make big plays for them.
Castle again feeling the pressure. Castle's going to go down. Flag on the play. A slew of Charger defenders in there on the tackle, including Damian Square.
Illegal use of the hands, hands to the face. Offense number 77. This penalty has been declined. Result to the play, third down.
Well, Taylor Lewan, he has really had a tremendous camp. He's had a tremendous offseason. Once things got settled in, because he did have some natural angst that the Titans were going to take a left tackle.
Understandably so.
And it was understandable. And once they made the move and took Jack Conklin and knew they were going to install him at right tackle, I think it allowed Lewan to relax a little bit and focus on just being the best left tackle he can be. And he has the talent to be one of the better ones in the game.
Third down and 13 to give to Henry up the middle. Henry is close to the first down. Henry has the first down. So the clock's running. There's 10 seconds left. They're trying to hurry up. And
they got to clock it here? Do you spike it here?
I think you have to. You get one more play. 2 ticks left on the clock, maybe 1. They put 2 seconds back on the clock. Henry's coming out of the game. McCluster's checked in.
It makes sense that his specialty, able to come out of the backfield and catch the ball. Although you would think in this situation, trying to heave it downfield and see if something good will happen. See if you can get some Aaron Rodgers magic to strike for you.
Do you want to waste that in the preseason, though?
No, but you do try things and then see how it all works out.
Another timeout. A little more time for both the offense and the defense to mull this over.
And I will say I have no empirical evidence in front of me, but I feel like the Hail Mary pass is working at a higher rate over the last 2-3 seasons than we've seen in a long, long time. And I'm talking college and pro. And I think part of the reason is it's really difficult playing the ball in the air. Guys are worried about pass interference. Guys are worried about, bumping guys before the ball gets there. And then they just don't locate the ball as well. Ball skills are something that I think have declined a little bit over time because the better players are playing offense now rather than defensive back.
Unfortunately, we're not going to see it here as McCluster gets the carry, but so many times in those Hail Marys, it's that trailing receiver that comes in and catches the ball.
The offense have gotten smarter about that, where it's the short guy as opposed to the deep guy, like Green Bay did to Detroit in that Thursday night game. The short guy caught it almost uncontested.
Rodgers to Rodgers connection, 17-10 at halftime. As you say, Taylor Lewan leave the field. It wasn't a perfect first half, but I think if you drew it up, you'd take it.
I think you would, especially on the offensive side of the ball. The defense, they came along. I think the first unit is going to have some work to do. But all in all, a good first half.
Let's go down to Kara with Coach.
Coach, this first preseason game really isn't about game planning, but you auctioned off those first 2 plays, and they went for 46 yards. Pretty pleased with how that turned out?
I'm very thrilled. I'm really thrilled for the groups that bought that auction item. I mean, it's amazing what they did for waiting for wishes, and there's going to be a lot of kids, some kids that are going to get their last wish, and those 2 plays kind of just put the stamp on it. It was all good for a lot of people.
Now, you knew you were going to play this O-line longer than the rest of the starters, but you kept them out there in both halves. Was that to get a better look at Derrick Henry?
Not just that, but it's hard to put an offensive line in on a 2-minute drill that hasn't played any snaps. So we want to keep the fresh guys. They were fine. We asked them actually, so they were all good with it.
All right, thank you, Coach. All right, well, when we come back, we will sit down with the one and only Marcus Mariota. Currently, it's the Titans 17, the Chargers 10. You are watching the Titans TV Network.
Tennessee Titans preseason football is being brought to you by your local Nissan store, innovation that excites, and the Tennessee Lottery.
17-10 at the break here at Nissan Stadium. Exotic smash mouth football. You defined it earlier, Charles.
I love that.
I think 9.9 yards per carry. Pretty exotic, isn't it?
That's the smash mouth part, right? The exotic was what the guys did in addition to the smash mouth. And we haven't even really seen the exotic from Mike Mularkey yet, because we'll see that later on as the season goes on.
All right, let's take a look at the first half highlights presented by Geico. These running backs got it going early and often, starting with DeMarco Murray.
And, you know, we knew he wouldn't play a lot, but that was the first play of the game. And then how about that hole that was created by the offensive line and what he did with it? The vision, the speed, it takes it all the way through. Didn't even have to use the power we know he possesses.
71-yard run there from DeMarco Murray, and then the Heisman Trophy winner comes in.
And look at that, his college teammate Johnston Fowler, the fullback, leading on the corner. Look at that nice block there, right up in the front, getting some space, and then look at him getting nifty with it. Look at the vision, the cuts, and the power. So what we're getting is an offensive line helping running backs, and running backs helping the offensive line, and look at the yardage both of them churned out.
Yeah, 93 for Murray, 74 for Derrick Henry on 10 carries. You couldn't have drawn it up any better than what they saw from their two running backs, and we haven't even seen anybody else yet.
No, we have not, and it's a crowded running back room. I mean, there are a number of guys we have to see: Antonio Andrews, Bishop Sankey, David Fluellen. But the key for all of this is when you have excellent backs, you make your offensive line better too.
Also looking forward to seeing Cobb there. You got to look at Henry. My guess is that he probably won't be back here in the second half. The Titans won the toss, and they're going to receive, or they did elect to receive. Now the Chargers are receiving. They'll start the second half with the ball. Derrick Henry, the Heisman Trophy winner, putting on quite a display, scoring his first NFL touchdown.
And I really think it was excellent game planning, even though you've talked about you really don't game plan much for these, but it was excellent planning to make sure that Henry ran behind the first team offensive line as we look at the first half stats.
Here's the first half stats presented by the Tennessee Lottery. Time of possession pretty close, but when it comes right down to it, 179 rush yards to 54. And look who's in at quarterback now. A very familiar face here to Titans fans, Zach Mettenberger. Pitches it off to Kenneth Farrow. Heads up play there by Mettenberger.
Not a way to return to Nashville, Zach Mettenberger. Showing a little niftiness himself in the pocket. That always been one of the knocks against him. He's a big heavy-footed guy, didn't move around very well. He did a nice job there creating a little space and a little flip pass forward to Farrow to pick up some yardage.
Yeah, Mettenberger said he thought that the return would be a little awkward, but we saw him out there pregame chatting with his old buddy. Still says he communicates with Taylor Lewan almost every day via text.
Yeah, you don't lose the friendships when you get traded to another team.
2nd and 2 for Mettenberger and the Chargers. Farrow met right at the line of scrimmage. Angelo Blackson was there, and this is a guy that they are hoping can take that next step.
They think he's having a nice camp, and the equation was Daquan Jones, who made the big step last year and played so well for Tennessee. They're hoping Blackson can have a similar jump.
3rd and 1 now for Mettenberger and company. Farrow again, and he picks up the first down.
So right now, if you're a defensive lineman for Tennessee, what are your goals right now? Shut down running game, right? Get off blocks, because you're going to get engaged on the snap. Get off blocks and make plays. If you're number 94, Austin Johnson, big defensive tackle, 2nd round pick, right? 3rd round pick, whatever it was. They want to see him make a few more plays. He's being beaten out right now by Antoine Woods, an undrafted free agent.
Yeah, they really wanted to see how he would respond. One of those second-round picks out of Penn State. They like what they've seen, but when you're behind an undrafted guy, that either motivates you or it gets to your head a little bit.
And I don't believe that this is a team that's going to stand on draft picks if they think the other guy's playing better.
Couldn't agree more.
I think this is a team that actually will say that and do it. You know, a lot of teams talk it all the time. And then who makes the team? The draft picks.
Of course.
I think in this case, if you get beaten out, they'll go with the other guy.
2nd and 5. Mettenberger's going to throw. And he just chucks that one away.
Yeah, that's a good smart play by him. And now we got a late flag that just came out.
An eligible receiver downfield, number 79 and number 63. The penalty has been declined. Result of the play, 3rd down.
Kenny Wiggins and Donovan Clark. Third and 6. Farrow still in the game at running back next to Mettenberger. Mettenberger feeling the pressure, and he is taken down.
With J.R. Tabai from USC. He was a guy who went to USC as a defensive end, played some defensive tackle, and then they ended up moving him to outside linebacker. He's trying his best to make this team, and plays like that don't hurt.
First sack of the game for the Titans. Kaiser in the punt. Once again, Laundry on the field.
Illegal substitution, 12 players on defense in formation. 5-yard penalty, remains 4th down.
That's a preseason penalty.
Yeah, and Mike Mularkey not going to be happy about that, about who didn't know they were in the game or who was in the game it shouldn't have been. And, you know, Bobby April, the special teams coach, he'll catch a little bit of that and he'll transmit that to his team. But as you said, special team, you know, preseason, plus you got 90 guys on the roster, 89 in Tennessee's case. Everybody's trying to get on the field, aren't they?
Well, here's McBride again. Deep punt, drives him back. He's going to stay away from it. Bounces into the end zone. Titans will take over on the 20. Still a 7-point ball game. Tennessee up by 7, 11:23 left to go in the 3rd.
Welcome back to Nissan Stadium. It's 17-10, the Titans over the Chargers. And joining me is Rebecca Hargrove, president of the Tennessee Lottery. Now, football just kicked off, the school year just kicked off, and the Tennessee Lottery has done so much for education. What have you been working on lately?
Well, we're real excited about celebrating 1 million scholarships and grants that have been given to students since the lottery began. So when the school year begins, we celebrate all of the students that win. But of course, there are a whole lot of other people who win as well. We pay out on average $2.6 million a day, every day, $2.6 million a day. So 194 people have won $1 million or more. You may remember back last January, we had a third of that huge $1.5 billion jackpot. So it's fun to celebrate everything.
So I was going to say, when people win, they really win here in Tennessee.
Absolutely. $3.8 billion for education and over $10 billion in prizes. So $10 million being awarded to players is an awful lot of money that's been awarded since just 2004.
So $3.8 billion, that's how much you've raised for education in the last 12 years.
Absolutely, and we've had 12 straight years of growth. No other lottery has ever done that. So hope to keep growing as we have in the last 12 years. record-breaking year, 13% over last year. There aren't many billion-dollar companies with a 13% growth last year.
Now, do you expect to keep that record up?
Well, we certainly plan to try to do so.
All right.
Things like this we do with the Titans certainly help.
Well, who doesn't love doing anything with the Titans? It's a lot of fun at football here tonight. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you, Miss Rebecca Hargrove, president of the Tennessee Lottery. Thanks for coming out tonight. Guys, we'll send it back up to the booth.
All right. Thank you, Kara. Antonio Andrews, the Titans' leading rusher last year, now in at running back, as is Alex Tanning.
And thank you, Rebecca Hargrove. Did you hear those numbers, Brad?
I wouldn't mind getting some of that.
Did you hear those numbers?
Wouldn't mind getting some of that.
You know where I'm going as soon as this is over.
You and me both.
We are buying tickets.
Well, there's a look at Tanney's numbers.
His numbers in college were staggering, weren't they? Did you sit down and look at those numbers?
His numbers are pretty good, almost as good as his trick shots, although he doesn't like hearing that as much anymore.
Yeah, I don't deal with the trick shot stuff.
Big hit there. They're calling it incomplete. Trey McBride couldn't hold on to it.
That was a nice throw, though, by Alex Tanning. I mean, if you analyze that one, set, delivered, put it right on him, good hits downfield, knocked the ball free. But that was an accurately thrown football from this perspective. I mean, when I talk about Tanning's numbers, I went back and looked. 14,249 yards and 157 touchdowns in college at Monmouth in Illinois, where his dad was a basketball star, averaged 25 points a game. His brother was a Division III All-American there, now works in the league in analytics for the Denver Broncos. Pretty good family there.
Pretty good cut there by Antonio Andrews as he finds the corner and rumbles for about 7.
He doesn't want to be the forgotten guy in this running back race. Remember, he was the starter for much of last season. Led the team in rushing, even though the numbers don't overwhelm you at all. This is a guy who was a high school quarterback, was Mr. Football in the state of Kentucky, played running back at Western Kentucky, and has done quite well for himself, making the team as an undrafted free agent. He does not want to get overlooked in the race to make this team.
It's a crowded backfield, started 10 games last year, missed some time during camp with a hamstring, but he's back healthy, knowing that he needs to be on the field, try to win a job.
Offense, number 73. 5-yard penalty. Remains third down.
And I will tell you this, Antonio Andrews, that play doesn't count. But watch what he does on this play. If you think he wants to make this team, watch this.
Ooh. That's good pass pro right there, Charles.
That's fantastic right there. It didn't count, but it did count. Turek Williams.
He's going to remember that.
He's going to remember that.
3rd down and 8 now for Tanney. Well, Tanney waited just a little too long, and he was taken down by Damian Square. And that's the first sack of the game for the Chargers. Square from Alabama. A few of those guys in the league right now over the last few years, Charles.
Somehow they make their way in, don't they? They get coached up very well under Nick Saban and his staff.
Burst the deep man again for the Chargers. He's going to have a little room to run here. Really, really good coverage by the Titans. Another couple of flags on this play.
Was that DeAndre's Mount, or was that Justin Staples, 57, I saw down there making a big play?
Looks like it could have been both of them. There were 3 guys right around the ball.
I know Staples 57 was definitely in there, but there were a number of blue jerseys there. Tremendous coverage, as you noted.
And that's how you win a spot on the team. You're a backup linebacker.
Yes. Got to be able to be a core special teams guy.
There's a lot of guys in this league who have lasted a long time based on their special teams play.
And you know they moved the kickoff line this year, right? I mean, when I say the kickoff line, right, is at the 35 now. And
during the return of the kick, illegal block in the back. Receiving team number 38, 10-yard penalty, first down.
And now if you kick it in the end zone, you don't bring it out. Who was that on the tackle? On the penalty, I should say. 38 for San Diego.
Dexter McCoyle.
Yeah. If you don't bring it out now, it comes out to the 25. So some decisions made in special teams.
Welcome back to the Tennessee Titans Television Network, presented in high definition by Nissan. Everybody enjoying what they're seeing tonight. Now, I don't think this cute little one can hear it.
You spotted this early. And what did you say to me before the game when you saw this young child with their headphones on?
I said she's a cutie and she can't hear what's going on. I think she's practically asleep there.
Yeah, kind of like Michael Phelps.
Just like Michael Phelps at the Olympics. His new baby boy.
Little boomer.
Yeah.
You remember Drew Brees. Drew Brees' child at the Super Bowl had the headsets on. And it's very smart parenting, protecting the hearing of your young child.
That could be a new cottage industry. Those new ear covers for children. Kenneth Farrow there for the Chargers.
He's getting an extended workout for the Chargers tonight, isn't he?
Yeah, he's getting a good look. And he has actually looked pretty good. Mettenberger on 2nd and 8. To Dom Williams. And that's going to be good for the first down.
Dom Williams out of Washington State had plenty of footballs thrown his way there. Playing for Mike Leach in the air raid offense, so he's used to the ball in the air and used to making plays. And I know for Tennessee, a guy we were eager to see tonight is now on the field, Kevin Byard, the safety, number 20 from Middle Tennessee State.
19 career interceptions at MTSU for Byard. And there's Farrow again breaking a couple of tackles as he gets close to the first down, picks up 9.
Had a chance at the half, ran into Hall of Fame quarterback Dan Fouts, who's doing the broadcast for the Chargers. And boy, was he impressed with what he saw out of Tennessee in the first half in terms of the runners and the offensive line and them trying to fit their vision that they had in the offseason. He really was impressed by what he saw in the first half.
Well, Fouts certainly knows a good running game. Farrow again getting it going, dives ahead for the first down.
You know, Dan would have checked out all those and thrown it.
One of the best, one of the all-time greats.
God, when you could throw to Kellen Winslow and John Jefferson and Charlie Joyner and Wes Chandler, yeah, I'm going to check out and throw it too.
He can chuck it around the yard for sure.
Boy, could he ever. And a tremendous competitor. It's interesting, as a San Diego quarterback, Phillip Rivers' demeanor is similar to Dan Fouts' as a player. That's not so bad.
That's a great point. I never really connected the two in that way, but you're right. Rivers is feisty. Mettenberger is pressured. Hit as he throws. That's DeAndre Mount.
Are they calling that a fumble as opposed to an incomplete pass?
Let's take another look at this.
Mount to your left, number 53 in blue, gets the pass rush, and they say that he got there before his arm came forward, and that turned into a loose ball. So right there before the arm came forward, so they determined it that way. And then there was a scramble to get on the ball as San Diego won.
Yeah, Farrow gets there. Farrow's been all over the place.
Nice play by DeAndre Mount.
2nd and 15 for Mettenberger. Trying to thread the needle. 3 Titans are there to break it up. Led by Marquestin Huff. Huff listed as the backup free safety right now. He's suspended for the first game because of a violation of the league's substance abuse policy.
Saw Kalen Reed, number 32, rookie out of Southern Miss, has great speed, and they used him as a blitzer on the last play. He created some pressure and turbulence in the pocket.
4 wide receivers now for Mettenberger. Mettenberger picked off. Kevin Byard breaking tackles inside the 15-yard line. This kid has a nose for the ball.
"19 interceptions in college. You wonder how he didn't get invited to the scouting combine. But look at him here, working, and what a great job undercutting the route run by Asante Cleveland, the tight end. And how about the return? Made about 4, 5, 6 Chargers miss. But look at him. Sees it, undercuts it, makes the play. And when you talk with John Robinson, the GM, or Mike Mularkey, the head coach, and you say, okay, I get it. This kid's a ball hawk, but what makes him so? Instincts, smarts, attention to detail, absolute film monster. He is absolutely something, and they said he knows defensive football.
Kevin Byard all smiles on the sideline, still 17-10. San Diego challenging the play. We'll be back after this. Welcome back to the Titans Network, presented by Nissan. Kevin Byard out of MTSU, a third-round pick here, makes a heck of a play on the ball. The Chargers challenging the spot, Charles.
Yeah, you can see right there, Asante Samuel had touched him.
That was interception. However, he was touched and is down by contact at the 44-yard line. It will be Tennessee's ball, 1st and 10 at the 44. Will the game clock operator please reset the game clock to 4:17. 4:17. Thank you.
I mean, it was a touch of a feather duster, but it doesn't matter because the very next motion was him going to the ground.
Going to the ground, yeah. Asante Cleveland, the tight end, just gets a finger on him. So the Titans still going to be taking over at the 44. Byard hasn't been in the game long, already making a difference.
See if they want to chuck something downfield after the interception. Give the receivers a chance to make a play.
Tanny in a quarterback. 5 wide receivers for Tanny to try and go to work here, and he finds one of them right over the middle, who coughs it up. And that was Alex Ellis, the rookie tight end out of Tennessee, fumbling on the play.
And that's too bad because the ball was well thrown, good route, but they knocked it free. And that's a tough one for the rookie trying to make a team.
Yeah, Dexter McCoyle recovers for the Chargers, so they take it away and then they give it right back, still 17-10. 7-point ball game here, 4:06 left in the third. You're watching the Titans Network, presented by Nissan. 7-point ball game with just over 4 minutes to go in the third. Kevin Byard, the rookie third-round pick out of MTSU, with a big interception. Kara has more on him.
Well, guys, Kevin Byard played football just down the road in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, but he had been on John Robinson's radar for numerous years. Robinson is friends with an assistant coach at Middle Tennessee who had been telling Robinson about Byard since his freshman and sophomore year when he was in a Blue Raider uniform.
So, Kara, what you're saying is that relationships are important in this league, huh?
That's exactly it.
And not only that, with him just down the road, remember, he didn't go to the combine. He didn't get invited to the combine, which is where the majority of the draft picks come from. So you have to do a little bit of extra work. And that extra intel that Kara just described really helped Tennessee get the jump on things, because on his pro day, he tested really well.
Dom Williams hauling in the catch. The Tennessee defensive backs were very adamant, motioning to the sideline that they should review the play. And as you can see there, that ball certainly hit the ground.
Yeah, I don't see that as being ruled a catch.
The results of the review when we come back. Still 7-point game. You're watching the Titans Network, presented by Nissan. Berger right there reviewing a pass play to Dom Williams. Initially ruled a catch, but you can clearly see here the ball hit the ground, Charles.
Yeah, I think they could have knocked this out in no time.
After review, the pass is incomplete as it hit the ground prior to gaining possession. Therefore, an incomplete pass will be 2nd down and 10 at the 28-yard line. Will the game clock operator please reset the game clock to 4:02. 4:02. Thank you.
Well, they most certainly got it correct.
Tony Corrente making it very easy to understand as we check out Zach Mettenberger in that Chargers huddle. Mettenberger, of course, spent 2 years here in Tennessee. 10 starts over those 2 seasons. Tonight he's 2 of 6 for just 22 yards with an interception. Mettenberger tries to dump it off to Farrell, but it was behind him. Farrell couldn't haul it in.
Now, does J.R. Tavai get a little credit for pressure there, number 41, or do you just think it was a bad pass?
I think Tavai was in there a little bit.
Looked like he was bringing a little pass rush pressure there, working against it. Look, is that Tyreek Burwell again? Watch Tavai to the top of your screen, working on number 78 in white. Yeah, he's got to get a little credit for that. Got his hand up in the passing lane.
Absolutely.
Got a sack, a pressure now. Making an impression is J.R. Tavai.
Played 4 games for the Titans last year. They waived him and then re-signed him. Mettenberger actually on target there, but DeAndre Reeves unable to complete the catch.
Rookie out of Marshall, home of the Thundering Herd in West Virginia.
They've had a couple of pretty good wide receivers in their day. One in particular that stands out.
Some guy named Moss. Turned out to be a heck of a player.
He was fun to watch.
Oh, scintillating.
We talk about the freak Javon Curse who played here. Randy Moss was a freak.
Remember that game against Dallas, his rookie year, where he absolutely decimated him?
He was completely uncoverable at times. Trey McBride going to have a little room to work, or not. Smothered at the 21-yard line. It is a new era of Tennessee Titans football, and it starts in just days. Make the call now to 615-565-4200 to order your Titans season tickets. You can also order them online at titansonline.com. Tighten up. Get your season tickets today.
And you know, when they come out and play like this on the first night of preseason, when you're a program, a team, an organization that's won 5 games in the last 2 seasons, it's important to have nights like this early in preseason, Dan.
It gets that fan base excited. Speaking of excitement, Dexter McCluster, chock full of it, picks up just a couple there.
That was really well played there. Who was that, a linebacker for the Chargers? 58, Tarek Williams. Remember, he took that big hit from Antonio Andrews on pass rush, and he did a nice job. Is that him? Too bad.
Looks like he's feeling it.
But he really did a nice job taking away the corner and then not allowing the cutback when he made the tackle.
Williams out of FIU. It would be unfortunate if he got hurt in this game, Charles, because Williams got hurt in last year's first preseason game.
Yeah, he wouldn't have any luck at all if that were the case, right?
Broken foot last year in the preseason opener for the Chargers. 2nd and 7 now for Alex Tanny. Tanny finds McCluster. McCluster finds a little room. And he takes it down to the 50. Brought down by Dexter McCoyle. Now, we talk about the crowded backfield. McCluster is the guy. He's the change of pace guy.
He is, but look here. Watch Sebastian Chitola, number 79. He's supposed to be one of those guys that's strong in a phone booth. You see Tanny dump it off there and watch the play occur. But watch Chitola, 79, get out in front. Now watch McCluster. And Chitola, with the block in space, able to cover up a defender. And he's supposed to be a guy that's supposed to be good right here in short spaces, not out in open field. That'll help him in a big way when they watch that on film.
Tanny looking deep for Dorial Green-Beckham. We have not heard his name much tonight. As a matter of fact, I believe that's the first time I've said it.
Now, he did have that tremendous block on the big run.
Correct. You are correct.
By DeMarco Murray, so he'll get big points for that. But obviously, the fans and, of course, everyone in the organization wants to see him elevate in the pass game and become that consistent performer that they know is in there.
DGB in his first season last year, 32 catches, 549 yards to go along with 4 touchdowns. 2nd and 10 for the Titans. That's Antonio Andrews down to the 45. Once again, Laundry.
Holding, offense, number 89. 10-yard penalty, repeat, 2nd down.
That's Philip Supernaw.
You mentioned points of emphasis. That was a point of emphasis for Philip Supernaw. Last season, 6 penalties total, 4 of them on special teams. They wanted to see that cut down coming into this season. And here in the first preseason game, he gets one. but they do like what they're seeing from him. He's a guy who's got a very good chance of making the team as a third or fourth tight end.
Well, you mentioned the fact they started last season with 5 tight ends on the roster. Right now in camp, 6 tight ends when you include the rookie out of Tennessee, Alex Ellis. Super not making amends there as he makes the catch.
And he got open early and demanded the football. Watch Supernaw go. Look at him. Hit me. I'm open.
Got to let him know you're there, Charles.
Yep. And Tanny obliged. And so did Joshua Perry, number 53 for San Diego.
Well, 3rd and long here. Let's see what Tanny can do. Got McBride in motion. And there's DGB. Looks like he may have picked up the first down.
You think that's what they were looking for, partner?
I think that works.
Watch these guys, though. Tell me if they don't do their job. Back coming in and chipping Antonio Andrews. Plenty of time for him to deliver. And now watch Dorial Green Beckham. Finds the open spot. Shows the quarterback his numbers. Plucks it out of the air for a really nice gain and a first down.
Here's Andrews running hard. Ball's on the ground. Hard to tell who got it at this point.
Might have changed hands 2 or 3 times already.
Jerome Cunningham in there. End of the 3rd, still a 7-point game here at Nissan Stadium. You're watching the Titans Network, presented by Nissan.
Well, the Titans are still holding on to that 17-10 lead over the Chargers. And I asked you earlier on Twitter to tweet at me and tell me which Titans edition are you most excited about between DeMarco Murray and Derrick Henry. And it seems you guys are excited about both. David K. 2005 tweeting at me saying, they're both looking great. Going to be nice. The 1-2 punch. David K. 2005, I like it. Murray, he's got a few seasons under his belt. Very seldom do rookies outplay veterans, no matter the age. Derrick Henry, we already know what Murray can do. I don't doubt that. I think we have one more. All right, here's the last one. What do you think about the new nickname, Murray Henry the Thundercats? I like it. All right, guys, we're also gaining some movement down here with the question of Derrick Henry wearing the number 2. Everybody wants to know when they can get their Derrick Henry jersey and if he will be wearing number 2. Well, the answer is no. Derrick Henry has to wear a number between 20 and 49, and he will pick that before the first regular season game.
And Kara, I think that the reason he's wearing number 2 now is, you allow him to come in and be comfortable. A rookie, you want these guys that you're going to count on for the season to be comfortable early. He knows, as you pointed out, that he can't wear that number. But that was the number that won him a Heisman, because he wore 27, I believe, his first couple of years at Alabama, switched to number 2 and won a Heisman in it. And he'd love to wear it in the NFL, knows that he can't. But you let him get comfortable, let him do that. Our colleague at NFL Network, Deion Sanders, he wore number 2 in practice all the time because that was his college number, even though he couldn't wear it in the NFL. So it'll be interesting, Kara, to see what number he ultimately ends up choosing. A lot of that will depend on who makes the final roster for the Titans and what numbers are available, or if he can cut a deal with someone to get the number he really wants.
Well, I can't tell, Charles. You think Derrick Henry's comfortable already?
I think he's very comfortable, and I think the thing that's impressed me the most is when I hear the coaching staff talk about how good he is in pass protection, because that's the one thing that rookie running backs really struggle with, because you can't get your quarterback hit when you're out on the field when you're supposed to protect him that way. So he's done a good job in that, and the hands they felt were good coming out of the draft, even if the rest of the nation didn't really know it because Alabama didn't throw him the ball.
Well, we saw a little bit of it tonight as Antonio Andrews picks up a couple of yards. But what they've seen a lot during camp is that smash mouth, run people over. His size catches so many people off guard. Funny story, during the scrimmage, Delaney Walker yelling over to the sideline, "We need a tailback. We need a tailback." He's standing right next to Derrick Henry, who taps him on the shoulder and said, "Dude, you got one. I'm right here."
I'm in.
He was so tall that he thought he was a tackler or a tight end.
Tall and big. And Delaney's, "Oh, my bad. You're already here."
Well, there's a guy fighting for a roster spot in Antonio Andrews. That was a nice run there to pick up the first down. Gain of 9 for Andrews.
And again, they got movement. The big guys up front. Nice little double team there. Patasi 73 and 75 Will Pales on the right side. And look at the gap they created. And Antonio Andrews hurdled right through it.
Yeah, jumped right over Tritola. There's Andrews again. He's just going to get a couple there. The Titans now officially in the Pinnacle scoring zone. Sign up for Titans Banking and get exclusive access to Titans benefits only at titansbanking.com.
How about Kara with all the Twitter questions coming at her?
How does she do it?
I think my favorite one was the nickname, the Thundercats. Wasn't that was that a cartoon staple?
The Thundercats was an old cartoon. I think around the time I was growing up.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
Probably find them on Cartoon Network.
Thundercats are still around.
Yeah.
I don't know that my kids have gotten into Thundercats very much. Fakes to Andrews. Tanny rolling out to his right, trying to buy some time. He was looking for Supernaw there in the end zone, but that was broken up.
Look like Dexter McCoyle.
McCoyle's been all over the place tonight.
He has. Didn't you call him for a special teams player or two along the way tonight?
Former Tulsa safety. Here's another look.
The Golden Hurricane. No S, remember. Golden Hurricane.
One hurricane's bad enough.
Yeah, you don't need to increase them.
Well, this is the 12th play of this drive, the longest drive of the night for the Titans. 3rd and 7 now for Tanny. Tanny again looking in the back of the end zone in double coverage. Trey McBride bracketed there. That would have been a tough catch.
I know they didn't punch it in for a touchdown, but I thought that the offensive line for the Tennessee Titans on that drive, and it's not their ones, I thought they did a nice job. I'm looking out and I'm seeing some numbers you don't normally see. Tyler Merritt's, playing left tackle, did a nice job. Tritola, we pointed out. They got some guys coming in fighting for jobs. Will Pales was in on that drive.
A new kicker in the game. This is Aldrich Rosas, the rookie out of Southern Oregon. His first kick is good. 33 yards for Rosas. Tennessee on the board once again, 20-10. Just about 12 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Coming back, we're going to hear from Ben Jones after the break. Welcome back to Nissan Stadium. Just about 12 minutes left on the clock here in the fourth quarter. A 13-play, 72-yard drive capped by an Aldrich Rosas field goal. Rosas set to kick off. He was a free agent who was signed in May. He played his college ball at Southern Oregon.
And came out early. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
He actually had 2 years eligibility left somehow.
Wow.
And came out early.
Just got tired of Southern Oregon, I guess.
I think they won a national title in his division. He's like, or was in the national title game at some point. Said, why not? Let's go do this.
Well, there's a little worm burner to DeAndre Reeves, who brings it out almost to the 30. We're going to hear from new Titans center Ben Jones. He's going to join Kara Hammer. You're watching the Titans Network presented by Nissan.
Welcome back to Nissan Stadium, where the Titans lead the Chargers 20-10. Joining me now is center Ben Jones. Now, Ben, this offensive line, it was your first time playing as a group when you brought in Jack Conklin and you yourself new to this Titans team. How do you think that first half went?
It went well. We definitely had some mistakes, but overall we had a good first half. We had over 100 yards rushing, and that's all you can ask for offensive line. We got to protect the pass a little better at the end of the house, but overall in our first outing we did a pretty good job.
Over 100 yards rushing, you had 179 yards to be exact. Would you like to see those kind of numbers every game?
that's our goal, is to come out and be able to establish the run. And that's what we said all offseason. We want to be a smash mouth football team. And that was just the start of the night. We come out and all the talk all offseason, we finally got to put on the pads and show everybody what we can do.
Now, there's one thing I hear about you all the time, that you make this O-line fun when it's not really a fun job. What is it that you bring to the table?
I just enjoy playing. I love being around the guys, and my passion is football. And when I'm out here doing it, I want to have fun when I'm doing my job.
All right, well, thank you, Ben Jones, so much. We appreciate it. Good luck the rest of the game.
I think Ben Jones is going to fit in just fine here in Nashville. If you're wondering why they re-kicked, it was because the Titans were offside on the first kick, so they kicked it again. Tim Semish picked up a nice chunk of yardage there for the Chargers. Mike Bercovici in at quarterback now. Bercovici picked off by Justin Staples. Staples escapes the tackle before he's forced out of bounds. I was just getting ready to tell you how high the Chargers were on Bercovici.
Doesn't mean that they won't continue to be. It'll be a learning lesson for him. He was a one-year starter at Arizona State. Ended up taking over there for Taylor Kelly and had a big last year. He's a guy who likes to throw it downfield, really has a nice arm. But in this play, what a nice job by Justin Staples getting into the passing lane, reading the quarterback's eyes, and timing his jump. He may have double caught it, but ultimately he caught it. A terrific play by Justin Staples.
Yeah, tremendous individual effort by Staples in his second full season with the Titans. A lot more depth in that linebacking core this year. And for the first time that I can remember, we see Bishop Sankey in the game. Sankey cuts it back inside, still on his feet. Bishop Sankey could be going the distance. His first touch of the game is a touchdown. 41 yards for Bishop Sankey. Is there a quarterback who's not going to score tonight? Or a running back, rather. Running back.
Boy, they say they had a tough decision to make in the room. Supernaw 89 with a block on the corner. Cunningham 84 also helping, but I think the vision of Bishop Sankey really made that play. Things got stacked up in the hole he was supposed to run through. He finds where there's an opening and gets there. And here's where I got to credit Bishop Sankey. He could have his head hung. You know, I'm supposed to be a guy who was good. They drafted to be a starter. You took my job from me, or I didn't live up to it. He hasn't sulked. He's worked hard, and he's trying his best to get back into the rotation.
Bishop Sankey, the fifth running back we've seen in this game. He keeps making plays like that. He could be working his way up the depth chart. Sankey, the third running back in this game to score a touchdown. We're back.
Once the second running back taken in the draft and expected to be a longtime starter in Tennessee. Now he's fighting for his job. Bishop Sankey. Watch him move to the left. There's a jam up right there. So now he's got to find the vision. Where is the hole? He finds it on the cutback. And watch him take advantage. Look out, put his foot in the ground, cut it all the way back to where there actually was space, and then outruns the Chargers to the end zone. Bishop Sankey's had more downs than ups since he's become a Titan, especially starting with last season. But boy, look at that smile there. That's a guy that's like a relief to show he can still play.
You're exactly right, Charles. 9 starts as a rookie, just 3 last year. The Titans have been waiting for him to break out. He's the 5th running back to come in the game, and the 3rd to score a touchdown. DeAndre Reeves on the return for the Chargers. Going to get another look at Mike Bercovici, rookie out of Arizona State.
You remember those Hail Marys we were talking about in the first half?
He had one of those, didn't he?
He had one of those at USC to beat them. That would have been his junior year when he was filling in for an injured Taylor Kelly.
Give to rookie fullback Chris Swain out of Navy.
How about his workload? He's in training camp and also working in the Navy. Active duty. He's got to go between training camp, active duty. Might be off days for the Chargers. He'll be working. Great kid.
2nd down and 3. Bercovici gives to Kenneth Farrow, puts his head down and He's close to a first down, it looks like. We'll look now at our quarterback comparison presented by Downtown Nashville Nissan. Marcus Mariota, as we mentioned earlier, a perfect 5 for 5 for 45 yards. Matt Castle looked pretty good too, 3 of 5 for 55 yards. Castle brings some veteran leadership to the team, and he's a good voice to have in Mariota's ear.
Great influence. Guys seeing a whole lot of things that can help the young quarterback. And Mariota's accuracy, not a surprise. That was one of the best attributes of his coming out of school. And if they run the ball this consistently during the regular season, his yardage numbers will go up throwing it. There'll be bigger chunks of yardage to be had downfield off of play action.
Curtis Riley among those on the tackle of Farrow. Look at Mariota. Missed 4 games last year because of injury. Been working out with a trainer in San Diego. Been working on his footwork in Oregon. Doesn't stop working.
No, Ryan Flaherty, that trainer out in San Diego, trying to build up his legs, and so he doesn't take those hits in the knee, or if he does, he can absorb them better. His balance, have you seen his balance where he's showing all the different exercises? Yep. I mean, I'm trying to balance on 2 feet.
You and me both, brother. Look at Tyler Patman.
And he's an aggressive guy coming out of Oklahoma State. Put in a little bit of time in the league. I think he came over from the Dolphins. Got Dallas to start things off in his career.
3rd and 4 for Bercovici. Had 3 wide receivers to the left, and he finds DeAndre Reeves, who holds on to it.
And I think he actually beat Patman on the route. Looked like Patman had him underneath. He was able to cross Patman's face, give him a little shake move, and go right in front of him and create a little bit of an opening, and Bercovici delivered.
Philip Rivers said he couldn't wait to see Bercovici in a game. He said he just carries himself like a quarterback.
You know, Bercovici's an anomaly in today's college football, Dan, and what I mean by that is he's a guy who was talented enough to play at a lot of places, but got caught in a situation where the team was winning and the guy ahead of him probably wasn't as physically gifted, but the team responded to him. A kid named Taylor Kelly. So he had to sit and wait. A lot of kids, what do? They transfer.
Of course.
And I'm not saying that's the right or the wrong thing to do, but he decided he liked Arizona State so much, ended up getting a great degree there. Super academic kid. He got a number of academic awards, waited his chance, and had 1 year as a starter at Arizona State, and now he's got a chance to make the San Diego Chargers roster.
A little high for DeAndre Reeves. There's an all-out battle for that backup quarterback spot in San Diego. Kellen Clemens probably the leader in the clubhouse, but Bercovici and Zach Mettenberger both very much in the mix.
Yeah, it seems like they want to keep 3. That's kind of the sense I get from checking in with the Chargers, checking in with people. So who's going to be that 3rd guy? To me, is Mettenberger, or is it going to be Bercovici?
Well, there was a look at the 3 other quarterbacks there. Looks like there's going to be a false start.
Illegal snap, 5-yard penalty, remains 3rd down.
Second time we've seen that tonight, right?
Exactly what you were talking about earlier with the center.
And one more time quickly, it's going to be a point of emphasis for especially the preseason and into the season. Once you get on the line of scrimmage, if the center can move around a lot, but they don't want manipulating the ball very much. So if you move around, all of a sudden the ball goes from down flat to on a tilt, they're going to call that an illegal snap and whistle the play.
3rd and 14 for Bercovici. Feeling the pressure, gets the pass off to Dom Williams. Dom Williams has been a busy receiver tonight. Well, Charles, you alluded to points of emphasis. Every year, they talk about things that they want to focus on, and pre-snap movement, the quarterback slide, and low hits on quarterbacks, something they're going to be watching all season long.
Yeah, and it's something that, you know, is already in the rule book, but when you tell you it's an increased emphasis, if it's anything close now, and what it means is the only time you can really put that low hit on quarterback is if you've been blocked to the ground and you're lunging for him. Other than that, you better stay up high.
Chargers going for it on 4th and 2. Don't convert. Titans offense will take over. 6:12 left in the game. It is a 27-10 ball game. You're watching the Titans Network presented by Nissan, and the Titans will have the ball when we return. 27-10, just over 6 minutes to go here in the 4th quarter. Time to take a look at the drive of the game, powered by Nissan. And this drive, not only powered by Nissan, but powered by Derrick Henry. It was a 9-play, 63-yard drive in the 2nd quarter. Henry accounted for 56 of those yards, Charles, and he caps it off with a nice 6-yard touchdown run where he's just carrying dudes into the end zone.
You know what they say about him, right? You know what the term for him is, right?
Tell me.
Full-grown man.
You might have left a word or two out there, but yeah, he is a full-grown man. It is fun to watch him practice, and you know you're a full-grown man when other players take a step back and watch what you're doing on the practice field in a game.
And are excited about it because they know how he can help their team. You know, they know how he can help them get better and improve. And, you know, offensive line, I've been giving them a lot of credit tonight. He makes them better. DeMarco Murray makes them better because you don't have to hold blocks very long. You know, you don't have to stand in there and grind and strain to get that kind of yardage, and they will break tackles.
Well, here's Bishop Sankey after that nice touchdown run. Running hard. Takes it down to about the 44, and he could have the first down.
So now they got to get a new tailback in there. David Fluellen is going in. Number 30, he wears number 32.
Remember the practice squad last season, played his college ball at Toledo.
He had over 2,600 yards as a junior and senior at Toledo. Very productive in a good conference, the MAC.
Llewellyn met by a host of Chargers at the line of scrimmage, not going anywhere.
I like that. He said a host of Chargers. Does that harken back to our days in Knoxville? Met by a host.
You know, there's a few things
of volunteers.
Might escape every now and then. I just can't help it. We're just two balls talking football.
Tell you what, it's good to be home, brother.
That it is. One of my favorite cities in America. Give again to Fluellen. He bounces it outside. Fluellen's going to pick up the first down. Good tough run there by David Fluellen.
You know, I have to feel almost like a proud papa right now, and also a papa who has going to have a heavy heart because you have to let some of these guys go. That's Sylvester Croom, the running backs coach, because he's had a productive night with his room.
Oh yeah.
Murray, Henry, Sankey, Andrews. And now how about that nice run by Fluellen?
You know, it's interesting. John Robinson took what was a weakness last year and made it a strength. 40% roster turnover. And when you ask Mike Mularkey to highlight the outstanding positions in training camp, running back's one of them. That's Andrew Trezilli on the catch. He said it's been one of the most pleasant surprises, that whole running back room.
And what happened, too, is we haven't even talked about David Cobb, who's, I think, nursing a little bit of a hamstring tonight, so we might not see him. But what happened is when you go and get Murray, acquire Murray in the offseason, you draft Henry, you've got talented guys on the roster that have to respond or know that they're going to be gone, and they've responded in a big way, trying their best to claw their way onto this roster.
There's Fluellen again. There's going to be a flag. I like what you said, though, about Bishop Sankey. When you come in here and you're supposed to be the man,
yes,
and then you get knocked down a notch or two,
number 12,
you can respond one of two
10-yard
ways.
penalty, and repeat, second down.
And the way he responded was pretty darn good.
That was strong.
Was he the first back taken his
He
year?
was the first back taken
in
14.
the second round, because I think I misspoke earlier and said he was the second one. But he's the first back taken, but it was the second round pick.
You are correct.
And I saw, you know, I did a number of his games at the University of Washington, and they were running that hurry-up spread stuff with Steve Sarkisian, and he was a workhorse. I saw him on a rainy day against Arizona where it just poured like you wouldn't believe. Well, it was Seattle, so like you would believe. And he carried it 40-plus times without a bobble and put it on Arizona that day.
That's impressive. Llewellyn again picks up 3.
You know, and I guess part of that, too, sometimes you do get that good family genes that come out. He's son of a military guy. All right, Dad, I believe, lieutenant colonel. So I think that, you know, that chain of command, that working, earning what you get, you know, I'm sure if he went home and said, well, Dad, well, you just need to work harder.
Dad's not going to hear that.
And he has definitely put the work in. He looks fantastic.
There are going to be a lot of tough decisions, the 3 position groups where they believe they're going to have the hardest decisions. Up. Tanny goes down. A couple of guys in on that sack.
Good pass rush here, like Bruce Gaston from Purdue, number 69.
Check out those rushing numbers. Wow, from Sankey and company. 33 for 288 yards and 3 touchdowns.
So we got plenty of the smash mouth tonight. The exotic will come, and the exotic is going to be not always just trick plays, but utilizing guys in different spots to their advantage.
Dexter
McCluster will be part of that exotic package.
27-10. We are at the 2-minute warning. You're watching the Titans Network, presented by Nissan. Brett Kern punting for the Titans. Fair catches. Fair catch, signal 4 on the Brett Kern punt as we are inside 2 minutes. Titans fans, there is still time to catch all your NFL action at Nissan Stadium this fall. Get your Titans season tickets by calling 615-565-4200 right now, or you can log on to titansonline.com for more info. They're having a good time. Mariota Jr. there.
Yeah, that's when you know you're doing pretty well, when the little kids are wearing your number, right?
Well, you'd know about that. I wouldn't know about that.
No. Kids knew better than that.
That's fullback Chris Swain, the rookie out of Navy.
Talk about a whole different style of offense for him now.
No doubt.
He's a 3-point stance, couple yards on the line of scrimmage, either got the ball or led in the hole and blocked.
All they did was run.
And did a terrific job for the Naval Academy. And Keenan Reynolds piloting that offense from right here in Nashville. Good Pasture Christian High School. They just retired his high school number this past offseason, as well as the Naval Academy retiring his number 19.
Well, Keenan Reynolds now a member of the Baltimore Ravens, trying to win a roster spot there. Kenneth Farrow on the carry. He picks up the first down for the Chargers. I love the fact that the Naval Academy is letting these guys play.
Yeah, I think it's great, and it's great for the Naval Academy. I think they figured out the benefits. I think you really go back to David Robinson, and they really missed an opportunity early because they made him wait a couple of years. They could have done that right out of the gate, but now, since then, they're giving them a better opportunity to do that and still getting the years in that they need. But boy, these guys are great representatives for the United States Naval Academy, and if Keenan Reynolds had come here to the Tennessee Titans, he would be part of the exotic part of the exotic smash mouth with the way they could utilize him.
Yeah, he's going to be of the Antoine Randall L mold.
Yes.
No better advertisement for the Navy than seeing somebody who went to the Naval Academy playing in the league.
But I will say this, if you're a quarterback in Baltimore, you're definitely down to 2. Because if he takes a roster spot, he's your 3rd.
Oh, no doubt.
So you don't have to worry about keeping a real 3rd. So if you're trying to make a team, you don't want him if you're a quarterback. No guy like that.
Mr. Versatility.
Who can handle my spot.
And that is the ball game. 27-10, the final here. Mike McCoy, Mike Mularkey shaking hands. This is about exactly what I think Coach Mularkey hoped for. We're watching the Titans Network presented by Nissan. We're back to wrap things up right after this.